Hey guys, so this is the second update on the collective loop project. All the loops that you guys have sent in and me trying to build a song out of it. So I added some new parts from the last update, obviously, and let me just kind of show you what I did. So first track here that I added, these are all a bunch of different loops that were sent to me by this guy Andy. Thanks for all the loops. And he run a lot of similar patterns through different presets and different things like that. So I figured, for one, there was just too many parts to try to put in one song, but I figured that I would experiment with using follow actions. So that's what I did. I went ahead and highlighted all these. These down here are all just blanks. In other words, I took the sound out of them just to create little moments of silence. And over here, this chooses the amount of time each one goes before it jumps to the next clip. This here tells where the clip's supposed to go. I'm keeping it pretty random. And 1 to 0 means that it's going to happen 100% of the time. So I'll play for you some of the original parts that were set, just so you kind of get an idea of what it is. Okay, so those are all the separate parts, and I just put together ones that I thought would go kind of well together being chopped. Another important thing to mention is that all these clips are on legato, meaning that instead of it jumping to the next clip and starting from the beginning, it's going to continue from where the last one left off. So I've also added little EQ here, a little compression, and I run it through here. I originally was going to make some dummy clips and run it through a bunch of different effects, which I did, but it kind of made the sound a little too chaotic. So I decided to add a little more delay, auto pan, get some EQing and saturation in there, and this is the result. So if you put that into context with the drums, so I thought that sounds kind of cool. So I'm going to play with that. Probably what I'll do is end up running this to another audio track and recording all the results and cutting out my favorite parts of the cut-ups. So that's what I got there. Since I'm on these loops from Andy, I actually separated a few other parts. So So I got this part here, and I layered it with this part. Basically with this part, let me check this part out as well. Okay, so that part there wasn't like that before. What it originally was, let's see if I can, here. This should be more of what it sounded like originally. So I took a lot of the low end out of there and just kind of gave it like more of a short, stabby, percussive kind of sound. So. These here, I pretty much left these as they were, except I moved a few warp markers around just to slightly change the timing that the part was played, just to make each 4 measures sound a little bit different than the last. And then this part just layers with it. Like so. And I pretty much kept those as is. This one I still haven't used in the song yet. I'm going to, but I just haven't warped it. So I'll get to that later. This guitar here, let me turn off the effects. Okay, great. I was sent this guitar part, and I don't have a copy right now of the original in the song. It's generally sounded like this, but I moved some of the notes around just to work with the rhythm a little bit better. But this was what was sent to me. Oh, actually, let me move this back, because I changed the start point as well. But okay. Let me go ahead and move that back to that start position. So what I wanted to do with this was kind of make it into more of an atmospheric, ethereal type of sound. So first way of accomplishing that is run it through a good amount of reverb, which I did, and delay. And I just put a quarter note delay, so it carries over. But the trick that I used is when you turn the wet dry above 50%, it makes the delay louder than the original sound. So it sounds like it's kind of fading in instead of fading out. It kind of fades in and then fades out. Added a little chorus. A resonator just helped certain notes ring and gave it a little bit more of a synthetic sound. And then a little EQ and compression. And after all that was done, this is what we ended up with. Let's turn this off. Go ahead and turn this on here. Alright, so I like that part. I'm not sure, a lot of these parts take the song in a different direction, so I'm not precisely sure how I'm going to use everything yet, but you know, that's the fun part. And then this part here, this saw wave, I'll show you what was originally sent. So I cut out a lot of stuff here and just kept like a small amount that I run through a filter delay. And also I set the starting point at a different point than the loop was sent to me as. So the original, this here, and so this is what was originally sent to me. So that's the part there, which is it's a nice sound. I like it, but I wanted something that kind of worked more of as an atmospheric in the song. So get rid of this. Let me turn my effects back on, and this is what I'm using. And in the context of the song, so I like that. Socks. These are kind of bassy and acid line type things. And once again, the original started in a different place, so it was more but changing the starting point gave it a more interesting rhythm for me in use of the song. So I did that. Next part is they're all pretty much the same part, but slightly different filtering. And this part's more acidy. And I'm mainly using this first one here. And once again, a little bit of delay and EQ. Probably figured out the theme that I like using delay for creating a lot of interesting parts. Let's see, is this one? Oh yeah, right here. So this was originally kind of a drum part, really, with a melody on top. Turn this up a little bit. And the part I'm once again starting in a different location. But the original starts here. And the only edit I made was just to cut these parts out a couple times just to make one bar slightly different than the next bar. Makes it sound a little bit less repetitive. And then I EQ'd out a lot of the high frequency and focused on more of just a little percussive bits. And then I'll go ahead and kind of play that with some of the other parts. So I like that quite a bit. So those are the different elements of the song that I've got now, and what I'm going to be doing is building scenes of different parts that work together, and from there I'm probably going to have to create like different movements to the song. It's not just going to be one song where all the parts work together. It's just not going to happen. There's too many parts that will, the frequencies will fight and the rhythms will kind of battle each other, even though they're in the right key. So yeah, I'm going to figure out what my favorite little elements are, and then other parts I'm going to use for breaks or little changes in the track. At least that's the way that I think I'm going to approach it. So that is where I am so far, and I'll check in with you guys real soon.